Okay guys, I'm live again. I'm very sorry, but my PC has some kind of a issue that I just don't know what the issue is, and it keeps crashing without any reason. So mid-sentence, it crashed. I'm very sorry about that, guys. I'm really not sure what is it? Is it XSplit? Is it hardware? Is it software? I just can't. I just get this blue screen and that's it. So mid-sentence, it just crashed, and we are back. Yes. So I don't know where was I exactly. I mean, I can't know, but because it's very late, I'm gonna get through the questions as fast as I can, so I can actually answer them. And I'm just sorry that this happened, but I just don't know really what is the issue. It doesn't make any sense. I just get again that blue screen and that's it. Windows collecting problems. I have no idea. I have a PC from so many years and I'm fixing them myself most of the time. Reinstalling them and all of that. Uh, change hardware. Still have that issue, so I don't know. I mean, before that I had similar thing, but yeah, never mind. Reinstalled. Another topic. Okay. So I'm getting to number 4 here. In your opinion, how much of a role does flexibility and stretching play in natural bodybuilding? Well, I don't think. I mean, you can be not flexible and still build a body and a physique. You cannot be flexible at all and still do it. But if you're flexible, you can stretch. That's very beneficial for your overall health. That's very beneficial actually for your muscles, because if you stretch them, that's also going to help with injury prevention in general. It's important for your tendons to also be very strong. So when you do that motion, you do some kind of a resetting of everything. You prepare them for the movement, for the action that they're supposed to do, so to speak. So stretching is very good to stretch. It's been proven a lot of times that's very beneficial. So it's not exactly related in that way, that if you're not very flexible, you're not going to be a good bodybuilder or anything like that. But it's certainly very beneficial. Like, it's very good addition if you can do that to your bodybuilding journey, because again, it's going to be making you more optimal. So overall, if you stretch, of course, I don't stretch before working out. Usually, I stretch when I feel like I should stretch. I just feel it, so to speak. When you're working out, a lot of times, for a lot of time, you do develop mind to muscle connection, especially if you study that and you start to feel your muscles individually. That's how you can flex them and move them. That's how, I can move my chest also, and yeah, I can move the muscles of my back and whatever have you, whatever you develop, you can move it individually. So it's definitely beneficial to stretch in general. So if you like it, you definitely do it before workout. When we used to have a gymnast class at school, we always stretch first. That's natural practice. A lot of people do it, a lot of people don't do it and don't have any problems. But if you want to do it, you definitely could do it, as well as with the resistant bands. I sometimes, take 2 resistant bands, like pull them like this, and put them behind my back, in front of my back. I do this spin with the arms. It's very good for mobility of the shoulders in general, so I do that sometimes. So I would say stretching, flexibility, of course you should have it, and it's good for the joints as well. So at one point when I started working out, I did practice a lot. I could make a bridge, which is when you lay down and you do this, like this with your back. And with time, if you don't do that, you lose that flexibility of your back. So yeah, it's good to do it. Definitely, I will say it's just beneficial. And hi to you guys as well. Hey Megatron, hi to you. Oh, that's very awesome. Thank you. That's a very good compliment there. Thank you very much. Well, I'm okay. I'm okay. Doing my Q&A, fitness and health orientated stream tonight. Thank you, Erko. uh, that's very funny. Ivy says, I also like active stretching. Yeah, it's combining movement with the stretch. There are always harder variations to seek, but it's like a workout on its own. Yeah, it's exactly a workout on its own as well. So that's what I'm gonna say about stretching. And then number 5 is, what are your thoughts on calisthenics? So yeah, calisthenics, for those of you that you don't know, is are all of those exercises that are with body weight only. When you're pull-ups, push-ups, dips, a lot of things that you can do. The stomach movement, as we call it here in Bulgaria, when you grab a bar and you flip on it, and a lot of these body weight exercises only. A lot of guys are just training with that. We here call it street fitness because we have a lot of these equipment just laying around at schools, and people just climb on them and do a lot of exercise on them. Yes, I'm going to watch Star Wars. I can't wait. That's besides the topic, but yes. And calisthenics is very awesome. It does develop very good tendon strength. It does develop very good physique if you have your diet in check. Of course, everything is diet. But um, although they make more reps, to progress, at one point you really need to add more weight if you want to progress even further and to build more muscle, to give volume to the muscle. In time you should definitely pick up the weights as well. So what I think about calisthenics, I do think that you should not totally should not divide exercises. Body train types. You should train everything. You should practice everything. And by everything I mean that, like I do, I practice calisthenics as well. I do body weight only exercises, and along with that I do weighted exercises. So for instance, when I grab the bar, I'm lifting my legs up. That's exercise for the abs. And now I bought weights for the legs that I'm just strapping on my ankles. They're 1.5 kg, which is like 3 pounds. That doesn't sound very much, but when you actually bring your legs up, it's like totally different things, like way heavier. It feels way heavier, and that's gonna help me overload, load more the abs than if I just lift my legs up, because lifting my legs up is no longer difficult at all, and I develop very good core strength. So you need to add more weight to progress to the next level of strength and to load your muscles more. So what I think of calisthenics is just that they're super awesome and great. You can do them, uh, you can train them, but do not exclude the weight exercises, because they're very, very important for your physique development and will help you progress further. So you always have to progress, to work out with everything that you can, with the resistant bands, with the weights, with the, if you have gymnastic rings, because that's gonna make your tendons very, very strong. You can do a lot of exercise with that. And each and every style of exercise, the calisthenics, the gymnastic rings, which is also falls under calisthenics, and gymnastics overall, and then weightlifting. Each and every, all of those things individually give you something very, very special and very, very important. So I don't see any logic and any benefit the opposite way. I see a lot of negatives if you exclude one of these things. There's just no logic at all in the world to exclude, you know, and to put things against each other, because one gives you one thing, other gives you other thing, and they're all important, and there's just no reason to not train and practice each and every one of them. I can do pull-ups, the next minute I can be under the bench press and bench um, how much I bench, like around 90 pounds at the moment. That's not much, but I'm not practicing. I mean, I'm progressing with the bench slower because I'm losing weight, so I'm losing strength and I'm getting the strength back at the same weight, and that takes time. But I'm not like I'm trying to progress the bench, but that's another topic. But when you lose weight, you lose a bit of strength, and you regain that strength on the same weight, and you keep going from there. So it's a bit like this again process. But the point is that you can do it all. You do not have to exclude weightlifting because of calisthenics, or calisthenics because of weightlifting, or resisting bands because of weights. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense for the body. The body doesn't know, you know. It's not like, oh, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that. No, the body just wants to be it wants to be overloaded and motivated to create the muscle tissue. So if you use all of that to your disposal, all the best for you. And there's just no logic in the world to exclude one or the other. Well, you cannot like one or the other, but I say that you just have to learn to practice everything because it's more beneficial to you. You know, the least thing that I like is to make any kinds of ab exercises. That's the least favorite thing in the world for me in terms of exercise. But if I do it and see all these amazing benefits, I'm going to work towards that because it's a lacking area of mine in terms of desire to do it in general, and just working towards that. And for the last few weeks, I've been trying to do 100 sit-ups, and so sit-ups, 100 and 100 ab exercises with the legs up, so a total of 200 repetitions combined with those two exercises just for the abs. For I'm doing this 100 times, and I'm doing the legs thing 100 times, and I saw immediately very, very good definition, and it's visible even if you're on a higher body fat percentage. It's going to be more visible because your abs are getting more defined and more hard, and just overall they stick out more, so to speak. There, the muscle there is very thin, so in order to see it, you have to build it up, same as every other muscle. So yeah, everything that you can use in your disposal, use it. Don't exclude it because some bro told you that, oh, calisthenics number one, and some other bro told you, no, bodybuilding is number one. That's just ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense. You don't need to get into different sites or camps. You just need to seek your best interest, and that's doing whatever you can. And hi to Kulieva, La Virgin. I'm sorry, I'm not reading that right. Wow. Hi to La Hauser as well. No, I'm not. I don't play Total War, and I only play Total War Rome, which was okay but very buggy back in the day. And Ivy says, very true, adding weight can help achieving even better results faster. Some of the difficult variations of calisthenics can take years to progress into, and yeah. I did not, I'm not. I definitely can't say that I reached my peak physical form. I'm peak physical form in terms of what I have achieved till now. This is my best shape ever, but I do see how I can progress even further, to get my weight smaller, to define the muscles better. So I can definitely see how I can get better than this. So I think that I have a lot more natural potential, you can say. Lifts the entire building. But that's not coming from his muscle, just from his godly power. Okay, next question. Would you recommend taking vitamin and mineral supplements on a daily basis? And should it be a combination of all or certain ones? That's a tricky one. Okay, so first, depending on where you live, because like for instance, the food here in Bulgaria is more nutrients dense than the food, let's say, in America. Like the difference is night and day. So many people that went to America ate anything from there, vegetable, cucumber, lettuce, a tomato, or whatever it is. They say that it's like plastic, it doesn't taste like anything, and a lot of lab research has proven that there's literally no nutrients, vitamins, and minerals in most of those vegetables and fruits in America. And like even in Holland, I mean, like the Netherlands, other people that I know live there, they say the same thing in terms of how everything tastes. So, I mean, compared to where you live, if the food is not nutrient dense, you maybe definitely need to take supplements, to somehow even things up, or you know, just eat not bio in Bulgarian is bio, foods. Here you can still buy literally from tomatoes that are homemade from somebody's home garden that are not even sprayed with anything, like literally none, and they're amazingly delicious. And it just I can't explain to you how amazing it is. Just like you take a tomato and it just smells amazing, and when you taste it, it's like you're in heaven. I just can't tell you that. So if you have a very good quality food in terms of vitamins and minerals, and if you take and if you eat enough fruits, vegetables, and I would say definitely eggs and meat, because there's a lot of nutrients there as well. You would not need to supplement vitamins. Vitamins especially could be harmful to supplement with. Some. It depends on what vitamins again we're talking about. Here in winter time, it just is getting very cold very fast. So it's very good to supplement with vitamin C. Just on and off. It's better to actually drink tea, but that's for the winter season. Like herb tea, we have a lot of very good herbs here that are directly targeting the immune system, that is building the immune system up. We have something that's called propolis, and propolis is basically something that bees make inside where they make the honey. It's shrouded with wax, and beekeepers they just take that and they put the wax in very high alcohol, like 90 degrees even, and extract the propolis substance from that, and it's very like a brown liquid that you can drink only a few drops a day. I actually made that myself as well. A friend of mine had propolis. Yeah, we just call it propolis. What to tell ya? He just gave me that bowl of wax, and I put it in very very high percentage of alcohol, and with like 2 weeks it extracted the propolis from it, and I drink it. I put like 20 drops with a bit of water, and I just drink it up, and it creates such an immune system that no matter how many colleagues are sick around me, with no matter how many viruses, I can't get sick at all. I only got a bit of a cold last week just because the temperature drops. There was a lot of rain, and my uh, my shoes got wet, and I had to sit with wet shoes the whole day at work. But I got over it in like 3 days, and I didn't even get to feel tired or anything like that. I was feeling very good very fast. So that's how your immunity works. Even if you get sick, you can't even get fully sick. You're just like back up. um you get a cold, like a little bit cold, like your throat is starting to hurt, but immediately you do that, you drink propolis to take vitamin C, and so on, and you cut it out and you drink the herb teas. So some supplements that I personally take that I think that they're beneficial is collagen. That's 3 type of collagen into one pill for the bones, the hair, and skin. That's very important. I do see that my skin, nails, and hair are a bit better when I take that. I do think that's also beneficial for the joints. That's why there's 3 types of collagen. So I think collagen is very, very important. I also feel a lot better when I take omega-3 fatty acids, fish oil. Totally, I feel the difference absolutely. So I take that 1000 milligrams. That's one soft capsule. Also vitamin D3, but only when it's winter because there's not really a lot of sun. So it's very good for the skin as well. But on when there's sunshine outside, when you're more than 30 minutes outside, when it's summertime, there's no point, I think, just no point at all to take vitamin D3. So I only take it on winter time. And oh yeah, what else? I take potassium. I take also magnesium. That's like on a not powder form or like crystallized form. It's a very pure form of magnesium. I take like 1 gram of that every other day, and I definitely do a lot better in terms of how I train, how I feel, a lot less tiredness if I didn't sleep enough or something like that. Definitely feel better from the magnesium. But it has to be like above 1 milligram, or I just don't feel it. 1 gram. I just don't feel it. So minerals are more important than vitamins sometimes, definitely. Uh, the potassium, I take that because I fast a lot. I fast more than 16 hours. I fast 18 hours. So although you can't really lose a lot of minerals when fasting, when you're fast for that short of a period, I still take it. So I don't see a lot of how to say benefits with the potassium just yet because I think that I do have enough from my food, but I don't see anything negative about it. I'm just testing at the moment with the potassium, you can say. Sometimes vitamin B3, that it's just very beneficial again if you're too tired. It just helps a lot with tiredness again. But I just don't advise you to be too tired. You just have to go to bed earlier, which I'm also working towards. Speaking of that, it's 11 o'clock, so I have to hurry up. Um, the other thing is resveratrol. Resveratrol is a substance that is derived from red grapes, the thing that makes red wine healthy, and that is discovered to be extremely beneficial for your longevity and your cells, because basically helps the cell keep the information inside so you're not getting older as faster. But I'm just testing that for the last few days. I recently found out about resveratrol from that Harvard doctor that I mentioned in the first part of the stream. So he said that he takes it for like 20 years, and it's proven and it's researched, and he researched it himself, to really help, so to speak, keep the cell tight. It's kind of complicated. You have to see what he was talking about. But yeah, resveratrol is little drinking wine, taking extra calories, and eating tons of red grapes. Just take it as a supplement sometimes. That just works and just good. So that as well. What else? What else? There's a lot of. I mean, not a lot, but there's one more thing that I take sometimes. Chrome. Yes, chrome. Very important mineral, chrome. That's also helping for, in general, it helps for losing weight. So yeah, chrome. Okay. So thing with the vitamins is more like of an American thing, because when the food is not nutrient dense, you're not getting your vitamins. You're getting it through pills, but they're not the same vitamins. Of course, that the vitamins that you're going to get through your food are better for the most part. So you just have to eat more quality foods, is what I can say. Okay, let's see what you're saying, because I don't want to miss anything. Okay. Yeah, it's better to cook for yourself. I'm trying to build a physique, which means that I'm trying to build as much muscle as I can, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be bulky at all. That's a misconception about women. A lot of girls, if you see them to be more bulky and muscular, that is because they've probably really taken something, extra on that, or they have more body fat and they look more buff, you know, or just the other day, I saw a girl that was training for 6 years, and before that, she was gymnast, and she was so buff, so huge. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be that big as a bull. But if you're maintaining leanness and maximum muscle growth as much as that's possible to your genetic potential, and you're lean, you're not going to do that ever, because really muscle, it weighs more than fat, but it takes so much less space. Then you don't look very big. That's why all the natural athletes look very slim, especially in clothes, because although they build a ton of muscle, it's really not making them, huge when they're not fat. When they're lean, they look very, very small. So I'm trying to build as much muscle as possible, but still, being lean. That's why I intermittent fast. That's why I'm in a calorie deficit. I never gonna get like this. I'm going to be like this, but just more defined. So that's it. And that is still meaning bodybuilding. I'm still trying to get to the point where I can't build any more muscle, but I'm pretty sure that I have like at least 1 year, maybe 2 years before I see my true genetic potential, because I'm still making gains pretty quickly and pretty efficiently. So I'm not sure when I'm gonna hit that threshold. But the little changes here and there. That's why I'm posting progress pictures on Instagram. Just 1 year ago, for instance, this muscle here that connects the arm, with the shoulder, didn't look as defined at all as it now. It's just very good difference, very major difference. The shoulder is very much more like rounded now. The bicep is a lot bigger. Damn it, you can't see anything to these clothes, but it's there. So when the more I know and the more I apply to my training and nutrition, the fastest results I get still. So we'll see when I'm gonna hit that, but definitely gonna be lean and not big and bulky, because again, being big and bulky as a woman means that you're more fat than it seems like. Ah, well, you're welcome, my dear. Mm. Yeah, I'm gonna give birth to Xena, yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, next question. In your opinion, could a person build muscle by just using resistance bands, or are free weights better, or combination of both? Well, that is going back to my, to the questions about calisthenics. I do use everything, like I said. I do use resistant bands. I actually advise you to get resistant bands. There's amazing resistant bands on eBay, AliExpress, that are just, one handle connects a lot resistant bands. You can connect like a few of them, and each and every one of them have different resistance that is equivalent to particular kilograms, like 13 kilograms, 9 kilograms, 7 kilograms, 5, and so on. And you can choose your resistance. You can choose how heavy it is. You can also step on it to add the resistance or remove, how hard it is. And it's very good because it stretches, and the muscle also stretches. So I have amazing results with resistant bands as well. Your muscle doesn't know what is lifting, but it does know the way that you're stimulated. So with resistant bands, I do think that stimulation, that activation of the muscle is very, very awesome, and it's kind of unique to the way that you're doing it because you're stretching something. You're, making this motion, so to speak, like you do with the free weights, but it's kind of different. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I always get very, very good results. Definitely with resistant bands as well. And now I use my rack with the weights because it's very heavy to put the resistant bands like over it. Then I take the handles and I like sit like right in this position. I do this and I pull it towards my back, so I basically work out my back. And I also turn my hands like this and I do this again for the clavicles, shoulders and set, etc. And I also then do this for the biceps like that. And basically, by the way, I'm very mostly leaner in this part of the hands is very lean. I didn't had any of these striations before. Now I do. Oh, let's see what. Okay, it's not very visible, but oh god. Okay, it's not very visible right now, but yeah, it's there. Yeah, the point is, guys, that you can do so many things, like with the resistant bands. I also get up. I'm gonna push my green screen, and I hold the handles like this, and I do like that. I don't have the space here, but basically, I do this for the triceps, and also it hits me right here. And again, with the time, you're gonna feel your muscles here. You can choose how to activate, the muscles in the exact way, so you can work the exact muscles that you want when performing a particular movement. So resistant bands are awesome, and you can carry them everywhere. So even though you go to a vacation, hotel, overseas, whatever have you, you can always bring your resistant bands and work out everywhere and use whatever possible, because you can step on them, train bicep, you can, do, fly, so many things you can. They're like there's this thing where it's like not a bow, but that's something like a bow with a string on it. You put that over the door, you close the door, and you put the resistant bands through it because it has like, an opening. And then you have a perfect setup for tricep workout. It's the same thing like the machine in the fitness. And then you have also this, at the same time you can do this with the hands. So you can actually recreate so many from the machines, from the gym with resistant bands. And I also put 2 sets of resistant bands. Like I have these 2 doors, one bedroom, one to the living room, and I put one here and one here. So I grab them like this, and I do that exercise that's for the chest. Again, I can't perform it here because I don't have the space, but this exercise that is done with the cables at the gym, you can recreate that with bands. So definitely get freaking bands. And also use free weights. Free weights are awesome in a different way. And again, the same thing, that you have to use everything that you can. Definitely both. He said, or combination of both. Yes, combination of both, definitely. And Clayton is here, the man itself. Oh, I'm very happy that you're here in person, and yeah, you can hear how I'm answering your questions live, although I'm at the end of them now, but you can always go back and watch part 1. My PC crashed. Unfortunately, that's why there's part 2, and now this is part 2, but I did plan to have the whole thing together, but my PC crashed and I have to go to bed very soon, so I'm gonna finish with the questions, but I did give extensive answers to all the questions that you had. No problem. Yeah, you already said, yeah, we're gonna watch part 1, yeah. Okay, Kaiton, so continuing with your awesome questions. How do you come up I'm sorry, guys. That's what happens when I talk for so long. Uh, how do you come up with interesting and healthy recipes that you share with us, and how do they tie in with your training? Well, guys, when I started last year, I started to try the keto diet. That kind of messed up my hormones pretty bad, so I decided it's not for me. And I done extensive videos on that as well. And I do think that the keto diet has a place, and it does help people that have like insulin resistance, that are close to diabetes or have diabetes. Definitely can cure that actually. But for a healthy person that does not have any problems with that, um, especially a girl that, like me, that already is fasting and achieving autophagy through fasting and doesn't need to do a keto diet to achieve further ketosis and all of that. It was not, I mean, it really messed me up, really messed my hormones. But the positive thing from the ketogenic diet was that I had to learn how to do a lot of foods, a lot of different meals, recipes without half of the ingredients that I'm used to. And before that, I already knew how to combine other ingredients, like for instance, when I make a cake, instead of flour, I'm using oat bran flour from oats that I'm brewing, not brewing, making myself with Nutribullet and all of that. So I do had an idea how to make so many other things without other types of carbs. I mean, other types, the same type of carb, but flour is definitely less healthy than oats. But then when you get to keto, you can't use that as well. You can't really use a lot of oats, just a little bit in the recipes, because they contain a lot of carbs. You have to bring your carbs to a minimum, like 30 grams of carbs tops. So I had to learn how to combine a lot of other ingredients, like coconut flour, um, other types of seeds, flours, and make bread only out of that, like one slice of bread having only 3 grams of carbs. I was doing so many types of recipes like this. Chocolate, only with fat, basically. No sugar, only stevia, and erythritol. Erythritol is a type of sweet sugar, you can say, sugar substitute that is derived from corn, and it's practically something that the body even doesn't dissolve, just passes through you. Doesn't have any glycemic index. It doesn't raise insulin, doesn't have any calories. It's very similar to stevia. Actually does raise insulin, uh, point 1 or 0 point something in some people. In some people it does not, so it depends on the person, but erythritol doesn't do anything at all. So both of these two things are considered most healthy and considered natural sweeteners. So I started experimenting with that as well. And I was eating a lot of fat and protein, because that is what ketogenic diet is, and I had to replace carbs and sweet things with other baking goods that are made from so many other things, and they tasted a lot like regular baking goods, but they're just made from fats, a lot of fat stuff. And they were awesome. They're really awesome. They really replaced what I used to eating, but still the craving for carbs, so to speak, the craving is not the right word, but you kind of felt the need to at some point. I felt my muscles really struggling with the ketogenic diet. I got lean like in a few days' time so quickly. But when your body runs out of the glycogen and the muscles, I just couldn't climb stairs anymore. I was just like a grandma. I was like, well, this is how old people must feel. Because when I tried to lift my leg to make the movement to the next step, I felt like I'm a mummy from the inside. That everything's so dry and everything's so stiff and everything's so heavy. I felt all my limbs so heavy. I felt terrible. I felt Like, before that, I felt like the best athlete in the world, that I could, run and ride a bike and just do so many things so fast. And because I'm very energetic, I love to run, I love to do so many physical things, swiftly, efficiently, to be strong and all of that. I'm used to being like a machine, so to speak. And when I was on keto in a few days, I just felt so bad, so miserable. And I was on keto like for like maybe 2 months. I don't remember now for how much, but I felt so bad, so bad. Then my cycle stopped, and I was like, no, it's not worth it. It's just not. So I got back to my, you know, I got back to eating carbs. And then I decided, but that taught me a lot of recipes, like I said, and that taught me that you should definitely lower your carbs. You should eat enough to feel okay, which for me is like 100 grams, or even 90 grams is enough. Um, as long as above 50, 60 grams is enough for me to feel like a normal person. But above 100, getting like to that point where you just get fat if you're not moving enough. But you have to move so much to compensate for those carbs, especially for my size. So then I started to think of a lot of other recipes, so many other recipes, and to watch other videos of other people that already went through that. And I took some ideas and saw how their recipes are very, very flawed and how they could be optimized. So from that, I created my own entirely different recipes. I got the idea of how to combine now all the ingredients in a way that it's going to make the carbs as low as possible, but at the same time it's full with protein. So I studied more and more and more. Found out how protein is even more important than I thought. And the more protein you eat, especially for a woman, I can absorb it, use it a bit more efficiently. And I saw that if I eat above 140 grams, or above, in general, above 130 grams of protein, if I eat above that threshold, and if that is my main macronutrient, if I eat most of what I eat is protein, so to speak, I'm gaining muscle. I'm gaining muscle on a daily basis almost. I mean, it's not possible to see that quick the results, but you feel it. I mean, I feel it, and in a few days, I feel the physical reaction, how my muscle look, how I overall look. I just felt harder and look harder, and just it was amazing. So now I'm trying to always eat like at least 140 grams to keep the carbs around 120. Like I'm still struggling with that. And fat as low as humanly possible, because when you're not on keto, if you don't keep the fat as low as possible and the carbs as low as possible, carbs and the fat are gonna fight each other. I mean, that first the body prioritizes carbohydrates and it has to go through them in order to get through the fat and burn that. And fat's converted into fat in the body like that. It doesn't have to do anything, just fat, so it can store it very, very easily. But in order to do that, I mean, in order to not do that and burn through it, it has to first get through your carbs. So that's why it's so important to not eat as many carbs, because if you eat too many carbs for your height and weight and so and all of that, and if you didn't move enough, you're not going to be able to burn through them in order to get through that fat. So that's why I have to keep them low as much as possible, so I can burn through the carbs, get them out of your system, then get to the fat and burn that for energy. And then of course the protein is left to build the muscle. And not meant to be the energy, but it builds up. When you work out, you break down the muscle on a cellular, sorry, English, on a fiber level, you break down the muscle. There's little tears in the muscle, and when you eat protein, you bring the building blocks to the muscle in order for that muscle to be built up, and the muscle fiber gets stronger and thicker, and that's how the muscle grows. So the protein is very, very important, and it's reserved for that purpose. And also it keeps you very satiated because protein has the highest thermic effect. Thermic effect of food means that when you digest particular food, each food has a particular thermic effect. So when you first, if you digest like 100 grams of protein, 30% of that, let's say like 30 calories of that, are going to be spent to process that protein. So you burn calories when you eat, so to speak. When you eat carbs, that's a lot less, like 10%, I think. And when you eat fat, is like none, almost none. So fat doesn't take any energy to process almost, and just gets processed. And that is why it's so easy to get it on you. Well, that is why. But the point is that fat has to be used for energy, and when you're on a ketogenic diet, your body uses primarily fat because you no longer have glycogen. Well, there's that process that's called glyconeogenesis, where the body can make carbohydrates from protein and still have enough glycogen for your body to live on. And because carbohydrates are not necessary for life, they're actually not. Fat and protein are essential, but not carbs. But for women's health, it's kind of different. And women do need a bit more carbs than guys. And yes, a lot of women can actually live without it. And a lot of women are fully ketogenic for years and they're totally fine. But all bodies and all people are different. We all have different ancestors that ate different things, and that adapted our DNA and imprinted some kind of a patterns in terms of what we can and cannot eat in time. And that is why everybody are different from everybody else. So for me, I don't think that keto is for me. When again that dramatic thing happened and my cycle just completely disappeared for 2 months, which I never had any hormonal problems in my life. I never had any problems with my menstrual cycle, like even a little bit. It was always super on point, perfect. And that was the first time that I changed so drastically my diet, and that happened. I would recommend keto for people that have insulin resistance and diabetes. Like 100%, they should do it because that's gonna fix them literally when they're not digesting carbohydrates, because their insulin is gonna be low, blood sugar is gonna be perfectly normal, and their pancreas is not gonna be loaded with sugar. It's gonna be left to rest, and that's gonna prevent it from being more damaged. And actually the process of rebuilding and repairing is gonna start, and a lot of people cure themselves from diabetes and reverse that disease that way. But for a healthy person, and especially for me personally, I would say it's not for me. But again, getting back to your question, that's why I, so to speak, got forced to learn so many things now, so I can keep, to make so many recipes and to not use again the white flour and all of that, because it's so very insulin spiking if you use those carbs that are like white flour and all of that. So everything that I use, the recipes, all the things that I do, they're very, very concentrated towards making the best protein dense recipes. Everything that I do, the lavash pizza and the protein fluff, and everything else, as lowest on calories as possible, so I can eat more and feel satiated, the most filling as possible. Of course, when it's high in protein, it's gonna be more filling because again, protein is harder to digest. Um, so everything is very optimal right now. When I'm not on ketogenic diet, I have to keep very, very tight everything. So high protein, lower the fat as possible, and less carbs than the protein. but protein is always on top. Carbs, if I can keep them 100 grams, God, so that's the point. If I keep them 100 grams, I always lose weight. I mean, cut fat very efficiently, but if I don't, it's very hard for me, and I'm doing this all the time, which it doesn't make any sense. But I give myself time right now to not stress myself out, so to speak. So I'm trying to do that and to get used to lowering the carbs to 100 grams gradually. I'm not doing that very quickly because I know that if I force myself to do that very quickly, it's not gonna be good for me, and it's too stressful. So again, losing weight and getting the body of your dreams is not a race, it's a marathon, and it's important to have patience with yourself as well so you can actually build the habit, make your body get used to it, and also make that as healthy transition and less stressful for you and your body as possible. And also mostly optimal. That's why I'm doing also protein bars by myself, cakes by myself. Cakes is like a chocolate, like a brownie kind of a thing, but it can have cacao or not have cacao. It depends. It's like you don't really have such thing, but like like a cupcake, but without the cream. You can put like apples in it, but yeah, I bake a bit loaf of that. I cut it like in um, 10 or 9 pieces, and in one piece, which is this big and this thick, is like 108 calories, which is absolutely amazing, and you get like 16 grams of protein, like 3 grams of fat, and like I don't know how many, like maybe 7 grams of 7 or 8 grams of carbs. So it's really optimal. So everything that I do is really optimal right now for this ratio of carbs, fats, and proteins. And that's it. That's perfect for when you're not on keto and when you want to get in shape. You really have to take time. Now I'm trying to get earlier and earlier to get up so I can make all the meals. I eat 2 big meals during my work time. When I work, 2 big meals and something in between those 2 big meals, like coffee with milk. I drink black coffee in the morning and water, sometimes herb tea that has no calories. None of that has any calories. 12 o'clock at noon, I start to eat the biggest meal of the day possible, and some kind of a dessert. That's again one of my cakes or protein bars that I made. Sometimes I do buy protein bars, but very rarely now because they're mostly filled with carbs and just no use. But I do like them, but yeah, they're not optimal. Protein chips, there's now protein chips as well, that helps me a lot. And drink coffee with milk then in the middle of the day because I just love that. Low fat milk, that is. So that's like 60 calories the whole thing. I buy flavor drops that are like chocolate flavor drops. I drop a few, few in there. They have no calories, and I flavor my coffee. It's amazing. And then like 3:30, I eat my second meal, which can be like chicken with white, with eggs, and not cottage cheese exactly. I don't know how it's that particular type of cheese, but it's very low on fat, very high in protein, and some red cucumber that has almost no calories, tomato, mushrooms, again almost no calories there, and I mash everything up. I buy like 1 liter of uh, 8, not 8 yolks, but just the white. Damn it, I always forget. I don't know why I forget that. But yeah, the white part of the egg, the protein. I buy the liter of that, so I put 1 egg and the rest is just the whites because I don't need more of that because the egg is very calorically dense and there's too much fat in the yolk. So that's why I put only one. I make this big like omelette that's so high in protein, it's unbelievable, and I eat that a second during the day. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan and how I try to eat, and that's why I made so many recipes because I'm trying to build as much muscle and to feel as satiated as possible and to not need as many carbs. So keto at least taught me that, taught me the recipes, and taught me everything and how to combine it to get the best result possible, the most optimal result possible. Hi to ACG. I have to really go, guys. I'm gonna get to your comments, and I have one question, two questions, and I'm gonna get going. Sorry, some messages. Okay. Wait a second. I have to get something. Yes, thank you. The answer to that, Ivy, is a yes. Yes, yeah. I don't have time for these things. So, continuing. Is it normal for one side of a person's body to have slightly bigger muscles or be slightly more flexible than the other? Is it possible to eventually get an even look and build? Yes, that's called damn it, it escapes my mind in the moment. But yeah, it's mostly what's happening with a lot of people that train, and with me as well. More one shoulder is more developed than the other, just because how you use your arms sometimes. I'm not left-handed, I'm right-handed, but for some reason this shoulder is a bit slightly less developed than this shoulder. You can even see it now. This looks, sorry, this looks bigger. So yeah, that is totally yeah, muscle imbalances. Those are called muscle imbalances. So yeah, depending on how you use your body throughout your life, people don't realize how they're supposed to be using their bodies when they're moving. Sometimes they don't walk right and they don't walk straight. They have bad posture, and you can also correct your posture when you're training. That kind of automatically happens when you do your exercises correctly, and you're squeezing the right things, and you're engaging the right muscles and core and all of that. So eventually you're gonna get better posture as well when you're training. But the point is that mostly when people growing up, they don't know how to use their bodies, and they're not very coordinated. So a lot of times you're going to use only one arm to do only one thing, like you're going to the store, your shop for groceries, and you only hold your back with one arm, and you're going to get like better develop not triceps, sorry, traps from that, and then from the other side you're not. So this is totally correctable. You just have to focus on that particular muscle, and if you're not as stretchy, like one arm you can touch your back, but with the other you can't. That can always be corrected. You just have to practice with the one body part that is lacking in that particular area. So that's really correctable. There's nothing really that much to it, but you have to work on it. Now, for instance, this shoulder that is a bit lacking there, compared to this shoulder, I'm doing a lot of extra reps every day just on it. And for instance, again, this bicep is more developed than this bicep, and this is my right arm, the arm that I'm mostly using. But the thing that happened with me is that when I train with one bar, the cricket bar, the left arm is doing more work. The left arm is lifting more weight than my right arm because it's weaker in general. So it has to do more effort to bring the bar with the same speed that the right hand can. So I'm sorry. So many. I'm talking with for more than 2 hours straight now. So when you do this, to compensate, the left arm is doing more work, and that bicep, the left bicep, is growing more than the right bicep. So what I do to correct that, I'm just doing again extra reps with the right hand, and it's really, really working. I really see my bicep peak getting almost the same as this one. as time goes by, but just it's gonna take a bit of time. But that is again, that is always happens when you work out with bars instead of individual weights. So that's why sometimes it's good to use mostly individual weights than bars, because bars are just gonna create all of those muscle imbalances a lot of the times. It just happens. They're very good because you're engaging the whole body and you're learning how to do things with both of your limbs, but it could create definitely muscle imbalances, and you have to get that on time as soon as you get it. And if you now you're starting training now, you already know that in advance, so you can just try to do individual reps as well, like this arm, this arm, this arm, and to focus on the moment when you do it. You have to feel the tension in your bicep. you have to you have to lift with your biceps, not your elbow. Don't use your elbows, and don't use your joints in general to lift anything, because you're gonna hurt yourself. You have to create the perfect movement. This is not doing anything, and you only lift with this part. So if you want to work your bicep, you only use your bicep to lift with the weight. You're not doing this. You're not engaging your back. You're not engaging your shoulder. You're just doing this. I can't do it right now because the chair is in the way, but it's basically a right angle, and you just and also time under tension. When you drop down, you also have to do it slower, so you get the tension here. That's negative. That's called negative. And this is the normal repetition, which is basically the positive. So both going up and down, how you do it is important to engage the muscle, and just do it with separate weights as well as together with one bar, and feel if one arm is doing more work than the other. You can definitely get a better result on the weaker arm, so try to correct that again with more repetitions on the other arm. That's how, again, I do it. And the last question is, what is the best advice that you can give based on your experience to someone who wants to follow your example and become a well-rounded athlete and live fit and healthy? Yes, that's the final question, and we are done. So yeah, that is a great question to wrap everything up perfectly. So what advice would I give? Well, like I said from the beginning of the stream, guys, find your own reasons. You have to reason with yourself. Why are you doing this in the first place? What is the most important thing? Most important thing is your health, because if you're not healthy, you can't enjoy life. You can't have long lives, so you can enjoy whatever could happen to you. You can't have the possibilities to develop yourself if you're worrying about your health. So you have to first get everything straight that is you know that is concerning you as a human being. You have to get your physical health in check. You have to take time, lazy or not, you have to take time to learn about nutrition. Make your own research, hear a lot of other opinions, and learn your own body, because no matter how many people are telling you to, like, for instance, eat meat or not eat meat, you can be one of those people that cannot live if they do not eat meat. So or one of those people that can live without meat. But how would you know that? You have to explore your body. You have to explore your body. You have to learn yourself, know what you can and cannot eat. There's something called the not the exclusion diet. It was another word for it, but basically it what the point is, that you have to exclude some of the foods, like one by one, to see if the absence of particular food make you feel better or worse. Like, for instance, bananas blow me up, like, my tummy gets blown up from bananas. But when I stop bananas for like a month, and now I eat a banana, I don't have any negative effects of it. Sometimes you have to cycle foods on and off. You can't eat the same things all the time. Definitely should stop for a few, like, for weeks, several weeks, then introduce the food again, see how you feel. If you feel bad, that probably means that you should not eat that. And also, of course, health checks if you can, to check your health, blood work, and all of that to see if something is missing, like vitamins and minerals. The point is, guys, do all of those steps to learn. So, first step is get your priorities straight. Most important thing in the world is health. Most important thing in the world is your health, because if you're not a good human being, if you're not a healthy human being, you're also not good for others, and you cannot help others as well. That is not selfish. It's going to be beneficial if you're a very good human being, very good example for others as well. uh, then if you're just neglecting yourself and try to help everybody else but not yourself. So first, everything has to start from you. Get you together, get yourself together, and then you will see automatically that you have to build your body, because that's gonna make you progress further. Everything is about progress, moving forward. That is the point of everything. The point of everything is just to move forward. Moving forward will make you motivated on its own. Moving forward will show you more aspects of life. Moving forward will show you a different side of yourself. Will show you that you are capable of a lot more things that you think. Is just the way to go. It's going to open your eyes, it's going to develop your intelligence even. It's going to bring you so many benefits, and you're going to have overall quality of life. So as long as you get your priorities straight, that your health is most important, then you're going to progress further into the knowledge of you, your body, what works for you. Then you're going to progress into how you have to work out, when to do it according to your life, how to fit everything that you want to do in your life, step by step. Again, this is a marathon, it's not a race, so give yourself a time to progress. Each and every step will feel better and better and more firm. You will feel better grasp on the world and you yourself as a person. You will grow from that, and you'll see the benefits one by one. So be patient as well. And you will be able to create all those qualities that you always want to have and never knew that you are capable of, but you are. So that's what I can say. There's something more to the question, if I don't forget about it. So that's my advice. Yeah, that was the question. It's based on my experience as well. Uh, And yes, the well-rounded athlete, as I said, is just don't exclude anything. Just train with resistance bands, train with free weights. If you can, train with machines. They are very good because they are isolating muscles very good. Compound exercises are very good for building a very good base of your body and strength. So isolation exercises can have better results if you build up already a physique with the other exercises that are compound exercises. Now I started to study about how the old bodybuilders trained before steroids. So I started learning about nuclei overload and other techniques that I'm going to share with you guys later on if I try those techniques. But basically it's based on the fact that if you train the muscle with low weights, very high reps in the beginning, when you start first training, you'll actually be able to create new nuclei. And now science did have some kind of a backing on that, so I have to check all that information. It's very old information, but nobody dug that up till now. So I would say to be well-rounded though, for now, definitely train with everything that you can, and resistance bands are cheap. You can start with that and then later on progress with weights and still use resistance bands. They're always useful. They're always like, actually you can't really replace them, because as I said, you can recreate so many machines from the fitness with resistance bands if you know how. And yeah, weightlifting, body weight exercises, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, and progress with adding weight in the future. But first, learn the techniques, learn how biomechanically the body works, so you're not hurt yourself. Learn how to successfully perform an exercise without hurting your joints. That's very important. If your joints hurt, you're not gonna be able to perform anything. So it's very important to have a perfect form, and that's also something that you're gonna learn with time. It's not going to happen from now till tomorrow. Everything is perfection. I mean, it's gonna be perfected through time. So give yourself the patience, and know that it's like building a house, and it's really amazing when you start to see that house getting into a particular form, and it's all because of you and all of your efforts, and that's something that nobody can take away. It's only yours. So that's what I want to say, guys. Have a great night. Have a great Tuesday. I'm gonna read what you said lastly, and that's it. I have to go, guys. Hmm. Thank you, Clayton. Thank you. That warms my heart that I can help you guys. It really does. It's what keeps me going in YouTube and in general, what I want to create. Thank you, Ivy. Countless detailed advice based on results. This experience. This is legendary, guide for anyone who wish to go on a journey for good. Thank you. And Clayton, really, to say that I'm inspiration, that's just mind blowing to me, and I'm grateful and humble, and I'm just gonna keep learning. Like I said, everything that I can, every freaking moment that I get, guys. When I'm on break, let's say at work, I'm always listening to something, informing myself about something else, studying all the time, getting to the research, the information, filter it out, see what could be biased, could not be biased. And I already know so much since childhood till now to be able to, sort things out. But you always keep your mind open, because there's always something more to learn. We do not know everything about the body yet, and we do not know everything about nutrition yet. So that's why I say just learn you and how you function best. And like I said, guys, thank you very much, and thank you very much to Clayton for the support, for the words, for the amazing questions. I do encourage you all of you guys, to gather more questions and send it on my email that you can find here on YouTube as well. And I think I put it pretty much everywhere. It's GaryStuffShow at gmail.com. And that's it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave more questions in the comments if like. I'm gonna see it afterwards, and maybe I'm gonna make another Q&A. So I'm open for that. If I can help you guys, I'm more than willing to do it. If you haven't seen it, I made the Greece vlog that includes my working out in the gym. That was like 2 months ago, and my home gym setup that's always here on the channel. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and just never stop learning, and good things will come.